Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another edition of Hilaal Live. My name is Luqman Shadrack from the Cape Town studios. We were live last week in Durban at the Exquisite Auto Soccer Tournament 2023. We're back in studio today. Thanks for everyone for coming out in support and coming to say hi at the event as well. Jazakallah so much. As we do on a Monday, I invite organizations that are making a difference in our city, in our country, and in our world. And one such organization is called the Anwar Jakoet Foundation, also known as AJ Foundation. And in studio, the founder of AJ Foundation, Brother Anwar Jakoet. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Luqman. Fantastic to be here. Thanks for the invite.
My absolute pleasure. I've seen the amazing work that you've done over the very many months, years, and it's just phenomenal. And people like yourself and your organization and the people that assist you, I would imagine there's a lot of logistics that go around organizing any event, any project. But for those that don't know too much about the AJ Foundation, give us a bit of history. Where did this all start? Where did the passion for something like this start?
Okay, to date we look at it now, we're just over 2 years old.
Alhamdulillah.
But we started prior to that as a group of friends.
Okay.
I started off with a gentleman, well-known gentleman named Dr. Anwar Jakoet, the late Dr. Anwar Jakoet. He called me in and he said to me, this was during the height of COVID. COVID had started, and he said, they're doing the million mask project. Would I assist, with them in issuing these masks to the schools, because I'm a former teacher. And Anwar had been doing certain things together, and I said, I'll come on board. It started off with handing out masks to school. Then I've been a serial entrepreneur for a very long time. I taught back in the 80s, left teaching, and I've never worked for a boss in my life. So yes, I was looking at different scenarios. I then met up with a gentleman that was doing hand sanitizer, Joburg based. We then went into a partnership, and I then said to Anwar, let's do the mask and the sanitizer.
Nice.
Started off with schools. Legislation came in, schools closed down. Soup kitchens emerged. Then the call came. Could you supply us with sanitizer and masks? Remember, there was some legislation now. You could hand out food in the road, in the open, but you needed a mask. Your hands needed to be sanitized. So we moved from the schools to the soup kitchens.
All right. So that was the need that you identified.
That was the initial. That's how I actually got involved in this sector. Right, in the medicine sector.
Yeah. And I would imagine pivoting from, one to another. Yes, supplying the need was there, but changing products, I would imagine that must have been quite challenging during that time and in the height of COVID.
Yes, it was. Right. And the need also came in that the government was pushing the whole issue of the 70% alcohol-based sanitizer. Old people's hands were getting rashes.
Correct.
The kids were getting rashes. The deal that I had done was with a non-alcohol-based sanitizer.
Nice.
Right, and it was a proven product. Right, it had all the necessary certifications. So automatically we could service those type of institutions as well. All right. We also got involved with EMS, the ambulance services.
Yes.
Supplied them for free. Old age homes, orphanages, and the thing just started escalating.
Alhamdulillah. All right. And which areas were you based at the time when you started this project?
Mostly in the poorer areas, in the townships. That's where we felt the need was. Right. Later on, the PPE things came out, right, and the masks coming in from China and whatever. The masks we were doing were handmade fabric masks, so it was reusable.
Right, and who were you using to make these masks? Local manufacturers?
Yes, look, that was done by the CAF Trust, Anwar, the late Dr. Anwar Jakoet, and they, during COVID, a lot of these factories actually had to shut down. He actually had another factory reopen. So he was creating employment as well. Which was brilliant, for at the time. So yes, it served two purposes. COVID, remember with COVID as well, because the fact that you needed a special permit to do any type of business. And this created, some jobs
Of course.
for making 1 million masks as well.
Of course. Wonderful. Well, kudos to you guys for seeing the need and being there for the community as well. So now you've got the soup kitchens, you've identified that, you've identified the need in these areas as well. Did you partner with anybody at the time?
Not really, other than with the late Dr. Anwar Jakoet initially. Things started escalating. The soup kitchens now were asking for food ingredients. We were in the mask and sanitizer business at the time.
Yes.
I then put a call out there to family members and friends.
Nice.
And I promise you, the day after the call went out, bakkies were pulling out of my house with goods. I've got to mention this as well. I matriculated in 1979 at Harold Cressy, and we created a grouping before COVID. We called ourselves the Class of 79.
Okay.
And they heard that what I was doing, and they were very upset that they weren't informed about it, and they came on board.
Alhamdulillah.
And I promise you, within a day or two, I had something well over 20,000 rands, and product. And that's how it started rolling. The problem came in, I had to make a decision now. Do you stay in this type of humanitarian sector? Because then you've got to formalize it.
Of course.
All right? And that's where the formalization came.
Okay, is that now an NPO sector?
Yes.
Fantastic.
So we formed an NPC, a non-profit company.
Okay.
Lots of my friends and business colleagues, sports friends, school friends had gone abroad. They were doing well. And they called and they said, can we assist you?
Alhamdulillah.
All right. And the NPC had to be registered.
Right.
For obviously legal and tax purposes, money coming into the country and so forth.
Right.
And that's where AJF was born, the Anwar Jakoet Foundation.
Okay. So you're now in the position where the need is there. You've seen the demand and people that are, struggling, for a lack of better words. How did you identify where you would actually put the various points?
All right. Here's the next part. When you qualify as an attorney, okay, you got to do articles. You got to do internships. All right. I did a bit of internships. I then linked up with soup kitchens that were doing bulk distribution, and they were going out to places like Wolseley, Toast River, and so forth. I accompanied them.
Right. In the Western Cape area.
Yeah, Western Cape area. Right. I accompanied them on 2 of such projects. Being there, we started speaking to the communities. Whilst they were feeding, I was walking around speaking to the community members, activists in the community, other NGOs, NPOs, asking what the needs were. The one thing that came out very, 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 very loud, education.
Okay.
ECDs, creches.
Right.
Early childhood development centers.
Right.
All right. Then your mind starts spinning, okay? Being a former teacher, I thought, look, maybe this feeding side is not for me.
You,
right? Maybe the education side is. The other part is we speak to people, and when we did these outreaches, is nothing happening on the sports fields. Right? There's no sport, there's no recreation for these communities in the rural areas.
Yeah.
So number 2 would be sport.
Okay.
Right? I come from a sporting background, so generally that would also now be something I would love to do.
Do you come from the good old SACOS days?
The SACOS days.
Lovely, lovely.
The 80s.
Yep.
The 70s and the 80s.
We're giving our age away.
Yeah. And obviously having been an ex-school teacher, I also was the PE teacher.
Okay. Gotcha.
So yes, so the sport came along together with the education sector. So yes, as we went along, I visited, more soup kitchens and see how they operated and so forth. And some of them were making 100 pots a day and 3 times a week. And look, we assisted them with whatever ingredients, because I was never going to cook.
Right.
I'm saying that right from the start. I was never going to be a chef, a cook.
Right.
So we created partnerships of that nature. Say, look, you can cook. We will provide the ingredients. We will source the ingredients.
Right.
All right. And this is how this thing started snowballing.
What was the feeling like for the people that you approached in these areas? I mean, surely they must have been overwhelmed. They must have been appreciative.
No, look, the reception is always fantastic. All right. And I say to my team, we call it we'll come to that later, but that's the AGF ECD team.
Right.
Okay. You know what gives you the energy, the strength to continue with this type of work is when that child comes to you and tells you and grabs you around the legs and he says to you, "Uncle, please don't leave." Right. As tired as you are, sometimes as despondent as you are, you want to go back. Just that hug from that child. And then the hug from the educator.
Right.
Says, look, nobody's ever come here before. Not government, not NPOs, not NGOs. They've come out to us in the rural areas to offer assistance. All right. And when we go out with, I've got 2 retired principals with me.
Right.
All right. I'm an ex-teacher. So, I think collectively, experience in education is well over 80 years.
Of course.
All right. And then we take along a life coach as well.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
When she's available, she goes along as well.
Okay.
So we want to look at it holistically, when it comes to the education side of things. But we also know a hungry child can't learn.
Of course.
So yes, as much as you wanted to get out of the food sector, you have to stay in that as well.
Of course.
So what we generally provide is your breakfast items.
Okay. We're chatting to Brother Anwar Jakoet of the AJ Foundation. It's an NPC that provides assistance in the greater part of the Western Cape and the outskirts, more importantly, sometimes outskirts that are all forgotten. And this amazing organization attends to some of the needs. After the break, we chat about some of the amazing projects of the past and some of the amazing projects that we can expect from the AJ Foundation. You are still watching Hilaal Live. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Hilaal Live. Thanks for joining us on channel 347 on DSTV, also on our very good social media platforms, www.hilaal.tv. You can also stream in. In studio, I have the founder of AJ Foundation, an NPC that's doing wonderful work in and around our beautiful country, our beautiful province. And we chatted about, some of the projects that this young man and his team has done over the last 2 years. And if you would like to get involved, we're going to give out some information a bit later as well. Brother Anwar, Jazakallah so much once again for coming into studio. And before the break, we chatted about some of the projects you've done as well. But you mentioned something very important is that you go to the ECDs, especially, and that's where the need is. You've seen the need in various communities. Has government come on board? Have they engaged with you? Have you engaged with them? Chat to us about that a bit.
Yeah, that's always a very tricky issue and question when we speak about interaction with government. You've got to realize that up till a year ago, ECDs were managed by DSD, Department of Social Development.
Right, yes.
Since last year, they've switched it to the Department of Education.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to say too much about that, but look, they are way behind in the switchover. All right, it's problematic.
Okay.
In that, I don't think they've got a clue, to be honest with you, what's actually happening on the ground. And especially in the informal settlements, that's where we operate, the townships, the rural areas. You see, very much so in the leafy suburbs, they've got the facilities. The people that they serve have the funds to pay the 2,500, 3,000 rands a month. Where we go, life unemployment, single parent, right? The educators themselves aren't paid what they should be because there is just no funds.
Right.
So they do it out of passion. Lots of the principals actually go home at the end of the month with no salary.
Wow.
All right. Now we go back to government, and I'm going to point out something here that transpired, and I won't mention the name of the institution because the problem is they can be shut down, all right, because they don't conform to the rigid regulations that's required by Western Cape Education Department, all right. And you go there, there's a makeshift unit that has 58 children in and 1 chemical toilet, 4 qualified ECD teachers.
Oh.
The shame is I did go into to one of the oversight committee meetings at Legislature for Education. And, the first thing I was told is that it's against the Child Act to have that amount of people. The zoning is wrong, the usual. My point was that, okay, so you go and you shut the place down. That place is also a place of safety for those kids.
Correct.
It's also the only meal they're going to get for the day.
Absolutely.
You shut that place down, those kids will be walking the streets. Where does the Child Act come in?
And the ripple effect that comes from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We
don't want to go too much into those, but
exactly.
I get where you're going with this.
And that was problematic, and I was told that, yes, but I'm advocating things that's against the law. And I said, then it's an unjust law.
Correct.
Right? If it's an unjust law, why don't you do something about it? Instead of shutting them down, provide them with another 5 chemical toilets.
Yes.
If that's what you require. Provide them with the facility. Then the normal answer there is, well, we don't have it in our budget.
Yeah.
But we prefer to shut them down. So when you're saying now the issue, have we engaged? Yes, we have. All right. We will be hosting shortly a summit, on ECDs.
Inshallah.
And we do have one of the impels that's working on it with us, right, in the department, and he's an impel for education. Right, he will put it together because he's accompanied us on some of these things.
I see. Okay,
right.
So he sees it firsthand.
This is what we love, and this is what my issue was with that particular forum. Do you actually go out and go and see what's happening?
Without, more of the time they just read reports.
That's right, and this is what I said. Have you? And they said, no, but we send people. I said, no, answer my question. Have you gone out? You're going to have a look at, what is required.
Okay, so more interaction needs to be held from government.
That's right.
And I agree with you there in all facets, but in the sector that you work in, so well done for identifying that. You said you work with a team of people that assist whenever the project arises, and I'm sure that it doesn't just limit you to your friends and family. I do know that you work with various artists as well to accompany you on certain projects.
Yes, most definitely. I always say, if you have a good product, people should be attracted to it. Right? You shouldn't really be going out begging for people to join. So in fact, on my way here, I'm giving prime example, I got a call from somebody, ex-professional soccer player. So I believe you guys are doing sport as well. Can I assist?
Brilliant.
I said to him, just hold on, I'll call you later this evening. I'm on my way to an interview, and we'll engage. But this is what's been happening. We have professional coaches, rugby coaches that have come on board.
Nice.
Right? We've got artists that have come on board, soccer coaches, motivational speakers.
Lovely.
Right? So a prime example is during COVID, we went to Toast River. They shut the roads down, right? And we created some entertainment for them.
Okay. Brilliant.
Just entertainment, because everybody was locked up in their homes at the time.
Correct, yes.
Right? They closed off the streets. Obviously, they had to adhere to the COVID regulations. And we just gave them some motivational speakers and things like that. And from 3-year-old to Oma and Opa, in their wheelchairs, was on the side of the road. And yes, we fed them as well.
Of course.
Right, because the food's got to come in.
Yes.
But yes, we create partnerships all the time. Right. So we also say there's horses for courses. We've got our ECD team with 2 retired principals, a motivational speaker, myself. When we go out on the bigger projects, we call in the artillery.
Lovely.
All
yes.
right?
Yeah. The heavy guns. The big guns.
The big guns. All right. To do that.
Right.
So yes, partnerships will always come into play.
Brilliant.
If I may as well, how do we spread this thing going? In every town that we visit, we have a partner.
Nice.
All right. Whether it's community-based, NPO, NGO, faith-based organizations,
right.
We ask them to identify what they know the needs in their towns better than what we do.
Of course.
Whether it's Karabao, Gouda, whatever we go to, you tell us what the need is. Whether it's the madrasa, whatever, we link up whatever we have to. And we service about 12 madrasas as well. All right. So we say to them, you identify the need. You give us 3. We can't do 40 in your area. Identify the 3 that needs it the most. Identify 2 soup kitchens that need it the most. And we will come in, but we also vet it ourselves.
Of course.
We just don't send things. We go ourselves in person. That personal touch for me, it's always important.
Brilliant. Some of the projects, I would imagine, can be quite challenging at times as well. And like you said, you can't obviously see to everybody,
Yeah.
and you identify a few that you can. What are some of the challenges you currently face?
Obviously, the biggest challenge is funds, all right, to do what we do, because we also go out and we look at the flood victims, for instance.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
We service flood victims in Wolseley, in Gouda, and in Franschhoek. Okay, and it's funds, all right, it's product. We don't mind. We take in second-hand clothing. Just make sure you wash it
Of course.
before you bring it to us.
Yeah.
We have a clothing bank with about 40 to 50 boxes of lint at any given time.
Right.
So when there is a disaster, whether it's fire victims, or next day
There's a need.
we can hand it out.
So Mandela Day coming up tomorrow. Anything planned?
Okay, we do not get involved in doing anything for AJF.
Okay.
We assist everybody else
Okay.
in sorting it. Today I was on the road all day.
Right.
Right. Got in a donor that gave us some bread. Another donor that provided eggs. Another donor that provided jam. So we took to different ECDs and soup kitchens.
Right.
And we offloaded with them. They're going to make it
Nice.
for tomorrow. Right. We've also gotten another organization, the big chocolate company, that said to us, we're sending you 670 sandwiches.
Alhamdulillah.
Can you distribute it? I've got enough people to distribute it to. So what we do is we will not have a Youth Day program, for instance. We will not have a Mandela Day program. We assist others.
Alhamdulillah.
All right. Youth Day, we were at Paulsmoor Prison, for instance. Right. Speaking to the youth.
There's a need.
There's a need to show them this is a place that you must not come to.
Of course.
All right. So we highlight on these big days, for instance, we will highlight the day, but we don't do it ourselves.
Gotcha.
We assist.
Brother Anwar, how do people get hold of you? If they'd like to assist in whatever means, partner with you, find out more, where they can get involved, what's the best methods to do that?
I prefer my telephone,
Okay.
WhatsApp. All you do is send me a WhatsApp. We would like to help.
Okay.
Then I will personally engage with you, see where your strengths are, where our strengths are. Right? We do it together.
Okay. And we could find that on all the good social media platforms?
You can. It's also on our website.
Okay.
All right, which is www.theanwarjakoetfoundation.com. And then social media, hashtag AJF.
Okay, gotcha. Brother Anwar, Jazakallah so much once again for coming into studio, for being part of our community, providing assistance where it's needed the most. And we look forward to seeing all the great work that you do in the Western Cape. And to everyone that partners with you, may all your projects go from strength to strength, inshallah.
Inshallah, Ameen. Yes, we'd like to thank Hilaal TV, really, for inviting us here and giving us the opportunity, on this platform.
Afwan. All the very best to you, and we look forward to speaking to you in the near future. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, and shukran to you and the viewers.
Afwan. That's Brother Anwar Jakoet chatting to us about the AJ Foundation. If you'd like to get involved, please go and visit them on all the good social media platforms and contribute where you can. After the break, we rehash an episode with Wasila Ali, the optometrist, and we chat about eye care and especially diabetes. You are still watching Hilaal Live.